Welcome to Satsang. A very happy Mother's Day. A very happy Ganga Saptami. And welcome also to those who are joining us for our special spiritual retreat. So wonderful to have all of you with us. We'll begin as usual with a question that comes in advance. And then any questions that anyone here might have, we'll be happy to take them. It suddenly dawned on me that I am completely alone in the world. No family, no close friends. I work from home online, so I don't even have co-workers. It never really bothered me before, but today I had a panic attack, worrying about not having anyone to take care of me if anything happened. I am truly afraid. There's a beautiful story of a man who was a devotee of God. And he suddenly woke up in the middle of the night one night with this dream. This nightmare, rather. And he called out to God and he said, God, I just had this nightmare. I was looking back over the path of my life like I was walking over a beach. And in the sand, I could see throughout most of my life, there were two sets of footprints, mine and yours. You were always with me. Except, he said, except at the moments of my life where things were really bad, really difficult. In those moments, he said, I only saw one set of footprints. He said, how is it? How is it, God, that in those times that I needed you most are the times that you left me? How could you have abandoned me when I really, really needed you? And God said to him, my child, those are the times that I carried you. That's why there's only one set of footprints, because I carried you. And I love that story because we aren't ever alone. As long as we realize that God is there with us. There's a beautiful line in the prayers that we chant each morning here that says, Tu akele nahi pyare. Ram tere saath mein. My child, you are never alone. God is always with you. So many times in life, people bring people into their lives just for the sake of koi hona chahiye. There should be someone, I shouldn't be alone. But what ends up happening is, instead of that person they've brought in being the one who actually offers peace and solace and care, that person actually ends up being the one who steals their peace, steals their joy, steals their freedom. But in our minds, we are so afraid that we feel like, "Wo to kam se kam koi to hai. ठीक है, सिर दर्द है. ठीक है, they're difficult. ठीक है, they make me miserable. लेकिन कम से कम कोई है. भगवान ना करे कुछ हो जाए. At least somebody is there. And this is actually a really tragic way to have any kind of relationship. Relationships should not be insurance policies. That it's, I'm afraid when I get old and sick, no one will be there. Therefore, I'll be nice to you now. For 30 years, I'll pay the premium of being nice to you so that when I'm old, you'll take care of me. This is not a relationship. It's an insurance policy. But our relationships should not be insurance policies. If all you need is insurance, put your money into an insurance policy. At least actually at the end of the day, it will take care of you. People in your life, there's no guarantee. First of all, there's no guarantee that they won't get sick and die before you do. Right? I mean, imagine that you've only got people in your life or someone in your life because you're worried no one will take care of me. You don't even want this person in your life, but you just keep them there talking someone is there. And then long before you need them to take care of you, you find yourself taking care of them. This is how life works. So there should never be a relationship that's based on that type of insurance. Love is love. We should be with people because we love them. Whether we love them because they're family, we love them because they're friends, we've brought them in to our life because we love them. But don't sell yourself out. That somehow you are so weak, so insecure, so afraid that you're prepared to have relationships for decades that you don't even want to have. Just so that when you get old and sick, someone will take care of you. This is not how to live. Have relationships that are rooted in love for today. And if, as the questioner asked, they said, I'm a loner. I've always been a loner, but now I'm afraid. Well, connection is actually beautiful. As human beings, we are wired for connection. Our instinct, our biological instinct, our neurological instinct, our emotional instinct are all wired for connection. It doesn't have to be romantic. We've got a beautiful history, a beautiful tradition of ecstatic monastics. So it doesn't have to be a romantic relationship. But we are wired for connection. And so you should find ways to be connected. If it's not to a family, maybe it's to those you serve. Get a volunteer job. Do something in the community. Work in a soup kitchen. Volunteer at an orphanage, at a school, for a nonprofit. Do something that puts you into a community in which you're serving. Put yourself in a community in which you're meditating. Go to a temple. Pray, meditate, do yoga, chant kirtan. Do art, do music. Whatever it may be. But communities are really good for our health. There's lots and lots and lots of science. From immunity to psychology to neurology. to a beautiful field called psychoneuroimmunology that, as the name implies, actually brings them all together. That gives us really, really clear evidence that community is really good for our health. It's really good for our emotional health. It's really good for our physical health, actually. That's the immunity part. So find a community. Doesn't necessarily have to be one you live in, but obviously the more time you spend in community, the better. And if your work is online, find something that's not online. Now that COVID is, by God's grace, opening up, the world is opening up again, find a community. Again, yoga or meditation or prayer or a mandir, a temple, a church, a mosque, a synagogue, whatever it may be for you. Or really even just like an art class, people who sing kirtan, people who make music together. But have a community. Because it'll give you that connection, but don't do it because it's good for your health. That's a byproduct. Like, okay, it's fine to know that it's good for your health, but don't spend your days around people you'd rather not be around just because it's your insurance policy. Good for my health today, they'll take care of me in the future. It's much better, in that case, to just anchor yourself to God. If you don't have the benefit of a community and you are still slowly creating one, in the meantime, just anchor yourself to God, knowing that God will always be there. Always there with you. Nature, spend time in nature. In the woods, in the trees, in the forest. Connect with the community of nature. But yeah, that connection is really critical. We are social beings. And that doesn't mean superficial gossip over chai. It means deep connection. So find it. Find it as much as you can, wherever you can. It'll serve you well today. And as a byproduct, but don't think about it now, it'll serve you in the future also. If anyone here has any questions, yes. और सूरज एक काम करो, आप ऊपर चले जाओ, है ना, जहाँ काम चल रहे हैं, को बोल देना कि आधा घंटे के लिए बंद कर लेंगे. धन्यवाद भैया.
Namaste ji. I wanted to ask how to deal with somebody who's very close to you, but is cold-hearted and emotionally unavailable. And I am that person. So how do I make sure that people deal with me?
Beautiful. Will the two of you just scoot a little bit this way? No, you stay exactly where you are. The two of you scoot a little bit this way. Yeah. It's just easier to see you. So you have your mic?
Yeah.
Okay, good. So what is it that makes you feel like you are cold-hearted and emotionally unavailable?
A lot of times I don't feel things, let's say I don't miss my parents. I don't miss people who miss me a lot. For that matter, till the time I came to Rishikesh, I didn't have compassion towards animals. Simple, a lot of things like that make me feel that.
But now let's take them one by one.
Yeah.
what has happened since you came that's given you compassion for animals? If you didn't have it before you came, what has changed?
Just for animals, it has changed, I guess, because I've seen people serving animals here a lot, specifically cows. So over a period of time, since I'm here from the past 1.5 months, that's why it has changed, because I've seen cows responding to when I give them some food.
Beautiful. So your heart's opened. Huh?
But
when you feed a cow, bear with me.
Yeah.
When you feed a cow and the cow is responding, how does it feel inside you?
Yeah, happiness, yes.
Okay. So where do you feel the happiness? In your elbow?
Just inside me, yes.
Inside you where? Your liver?
Yeah, probably the heart, yes.
Yeah, right? You kind of feel it a little warm here?
Yeah.
Okay. So your heart is opening.
Okay.
Now, in terms of not missing people who miss you,
Yeah.
that doesn't mean you're cold-hearted at all, actually. What it means is that, number one, you're able to live in the present. You're here now, rather than being somewhere else. But it also means that you're able to access those people right now. You love them, but that doesn't mean that you are you love them, but you're not longing for them. Now that doesn't mean that your heart is closed. It's actually beautiful. It means that you can feel them with you. That's the goal, actually. The goal of life is not that every one of us should walk through our day clutching our heart because we miss those that we left at home when we went off to the office. Or that we can't go on spiritual retreat because, oh my God, we miss those back at home so much. That's not helpful. That's not emotionally or spiritually beneficial. What's beneficial is to love them, to feel connected to them, to look forward to seeing them when you see them, but to be able to be where you are right now in that moment. So that sounds very spiritual and good to me. What else makes you feel like you're really emotionally unavailable?
I guess the very same feelings, because let's say I had a partner. She used to tell me that you don't miss me, and you like, for that matter, very same way it's with my mother as well. So my mother usually tells me that you don't call, you don't, and I don't feel like the entire day passes, 2 days pass, and I do remember them when I'm loving it when I'm talking to them, but when I'm not talking to them, and they are missing me. Like for example, my parents, my ex-partner, or for that matter, anybody who's very close to me. But when I travel 8 to 9 months a year, 10 months a year, so I'm mostly not with them, not with the people who are my parents, or for anybody who's close to me, and I'm always on the go, on the road. So it becomes difficult for them, but I am okay with that. I don't have any problem with that, but they don't feel good with that.
Okay. So this is really important, because not just on the level of emotional availability, which we'll come to in a moment, but you see how he's created an entire identity that's not actually how he feels. You're not feeling, oh my God, I'm so cold-hearted. You're not feeling I'm emotionally unavailable. The way that you know that you are, or that you think you are, is based on what people are telling you. So many of us do this. We base our identities on what other people tell us. And this is a really dangerous thing to do. Because then our entire identity gets built up by, wrapped up in someone else's agenda. Let's say, for example, just for a moment, let's take it to an extreme. Let's say that I'm a drug addict, or I'm an alcoholic, but I don't have any money. And maybe you are my husband, maybe you're my father, maybe you're my brother, a good friend, and you have confiscated all of my money because you know if she has money, she's going to go and buy alcohol and drugs. So you give me food, you give me shelter, you give me clothes, but you do not give me cash. Now I really want to go and buy alcohol or drugs. Like I feel like I'm addicted, right? So I'm dying for it. I'm looking all over the house for money. I say to you, give me money. You say no. I scream at you, I hit you, I yell at you, I say, give me money. You say no. I say, you're a horrible person, I hate you. Are you going to believe that you're a horrible person?
No.
You understand that what you're doing is actually for my best interest. You understand that actually what you're doing is helping me. Now, my felt sense experience is I hate you. And in that moment, I really do. Because in that moment, all I can do is think about alcohol and drugs. And you're not letting me have my alcohol and drugs. So I'm going to say, you are selfish. You are horrible. And it may hurt you because obviously you love me. You don't want me to suffer. But you're going to know you're not a horrible person. You know that's just my addicted mind talking. And your friends, your support system will say, Koi baat nahi, abhi bolne do. Kuch din ke baad, she will appreciate it. Now, this is what happens in life. People have their own way of living, their own agendas, their own visions and fantasies of what relationships are like, especially parents with children. Every parent would love their child living down the block from them. Obviously, you should be there, you should be married, you should have a bunch of kids, right down the block. If you're not in the same house, you should be just down the block. This is parents' beautiful agenda. Partner, loved ones, especially when they're women. You can't make a hugely gross generalization, but you certainly can make a mild generalization. Which is that I would say 9 times out of 10, maybe 8, 8.5, but way more than 5 times out of 10. It's the woman saying, I don't have enough time with you. You don't care enough. You're not paying enough attention to me. Don't you miss me? Don't you miss me? And this it happens to be a gender thing. I remember growing up when I was young, and my parents would fight until my dad changed his ways. But the fights were basically, my mom would call my dad in the middle of the day. He's a lawyer, busy guy. She'd call him in the middle of the day and she'd say, hi. My dad would be like, hi. But he's a very matter-of-fact type of guy. Amazing, amazing, amazing man. Matter of fact, he speaks his mind. He doesn't go around the bush. So, and especially when he's at work. So his way of responding to people was state your business. It's like in Hindi we say, ha bolo. Bolo? Ha, kya baat hai bolo? You have something to say, chalo bolo. So my dad's way of saying that was state your business. So mom would call and she'd say, hi. And dad would go, state your business. And mom, of course, would freak out. Like, who is this man and how dare he? And he's breaking my heart. And then she would cry and yell and get upset. Don't you even have 2 minutes to talk to me? And they would fight. My dad learned, obviously, to stop saying state your business, but he would kind of let her talk while he was doing his thing. She would call and she'd want to tell him about, something that had happened in her day. Oh, I got a call from so-and-so, or I bumped into so-and-so, or, I made a sale. My mom was in business. I made a sale. Okay. In my dad's mind, that's what we have dinner for. Like, I'm going to see you. We're going to have dinner. You're going to tell me. In my mom's mind, it was just connection. Now, what my dad learned over the years was when my mom called, he actually would stand up from his desk, turn around, face the window. His window looked out over LA, and talk to my mom for 2 minutes facing the window. Because he realized that the 2 minutes that he thought he was saving by not engaging with her became a 2-hour fight when he got home. And it was actually a lot easier to just spend 2 minutes to stand up, to take a breath, look out the window, and give her that 2 minute of connection. I share the story because in general, this is how things tend to go. Men cannot understand why, in the middle of a workday, why you would call, hi, like who does that? I'm working. Oh, right, that was the other thing. My mom would say, what are you doing? My dad would be like, working. You think, who asks that? But it's not that she didn't know what he was doing. It's that she was reaching out just to connect. She just wanted to connect. And there does tend to be quite a large gender difference here. So it doesn't surprise me that a female partner and your mother are the ones who are reaching out. And what I would say is, first of all, this does not mean you are emotionally unavailable. The fact that you're even asking this question and looking to change is incredibly beautiful. That you're even looking at yourself saying, maybe there is something wrong with me, is beautiful. There is nothing wrong with you. The way that you are moving through your life is beautiful and perfect, and very, very, very similar to the overwhelming vast majority of men on the planet. And the way that your partner and your mother respond is very, very similar to the vast overwhelming majority of women on this planet. And so what I would say is, set up a time to talk to your parents, whether it's once a week, whether it's twice a week, whether it's once every 2 days, whatever it is. And when you talk to them, look out the window. Just look out the window. Or do something other than look at your phone, your desk, your work. Just be with them. your partner, of course, is an ex already. I would certainly suggest, if you are traveling that much, that when you decide, if you decide to get married or have a new partner, that you make sure it is someone who is happy on her own, really fully engaged and self-sustaining, excited about her life, her work, not looking to you to fill up every day, or someone who works in your business and travels with you. But just for the peace and the joy of the rest of your life, if you do want to keep traveling like this, just make sure that that's an open conversation from the beginning. Because the last thing you want to do is have you feel badly and she feels sad, and, you know. And there are women, of course, who will be fine with that. Who will be happy even. Happy to see you when you come home and happy to send you off when you go on your way. Just make sure that that's one of them who you do marry or who you do get into a relationship with. But there's absolutely nothing wrong with you whatsoever. The fact that your heart is able to open so quickly and so beautifully to animals, it shows all you need is just a catalyst. Just a catalyst to open your heart. And it's beautiful. Yeah. Does anyone else have a question? Yes.
Mm-hmm. Okay. So I have a question about menstruation. I know that this topic is kind of taboo, but I also know that you have a great work speaking about this. So recently some Indian friends told me that during menstruation women should not attend to fire ceremonies, go to sacred mandirs and those kind of things. So I would like to know why.
Great question. So, traditionally, it's built into the culture that when women are menstruating, they are considered, it's not unclean. That's how it gets mistranslated, but it isn't that. But just that their energy is such that they should not be in the kitchen, in their husband's bed, in the temple, or engaged in religious sorts of activities. Now, when I first came to India, this troubled me a lot. Because it was explained to me as in, it's unclean. Things like, for example, if I was sitting with Puja Swamiji, any other day of the month, I could get up, go into the kitchen, get him a glass of water, come back and give him a glass of water. On those days, I had to get up, go out, find one of the boys, tell the boy to bring him a glass of water, and I was like, this is ridiculous. Why? Normal days, if there was a pen on the table and he needed a pen, I could pick it up and hand it to him. On the days that I was menstruating, I could pick up the pen, but then I would have to put it on the table in front of him, and then he would have to pick it up, like energetically. Even though our hands never touched, I mean, a pen is long, I'm holding one end, he's grabbing the other. Nonetheless, it was as though something was... And I was 25 when I came. So first few years, I'm 25, 26, 27. And I remember so many times saying, I promise, it's not contagious. Like, trust me, really, I guarantee, not going to happen to you. And then people would say, well, you know, it's unclean. And I remember saying, let me get this straight. I use menstrual products that are creating a situation where there isn't actually any blood coming out of my body. There is no blood actually exiting because my menstrual product is inside my body. Later, when I'm in my room, I will take it out. I will wash my hands with soap and water. Nonetheless, my hands are, that was the other thing I used to say, is I don't menstruate from my hands. Like, my hands are clean. And it used to baffle me. I would say, now wait, I change my menstrual product. I wash my hands with soap and water. Nonetheless, I can't hand you a glass of water or a pen. And this is a country where people wipe themselves with their hands, don't use soap, and some guy who's got diarrhea is wiping himself with his hands, running his hands under just water to clean them. His hands are clean enough to give you a glass of water? It used to baffle me. And because I was not shy, I would ask these questions to pretty much anyone. Because Pujya Swamiji, of course, he would just say, this is what they say, we follow it, don't ask me these things. And so then I would start asking them to other people. Both women, householder women, as well as other religious leaders. And what I found was actually no one could give me a satisfactory answer. Except, Pujya Swamiji said one day, he said, you know what? He said, I think our rishis and sages were very smart. He said, mostly these men work these women 24/7. And I think that our rishis and sages gave these women 4 or 5 days a month off. No, I can't be in your bed. No, I can't cook your food. No, I can't do your clothes. No, I can't do anything. 4 or 5 days a month, I am just supposed to be alone and take rest. And he said, I think that this was our rishis and sages' way of getting these men to give these women a few days off every month. However, there's a whole other element to it which I learned later on, which is the energy is different and it is actually palpable. So for example, even though Pujya Swamiji in his mind didn't have any reason for why it was unclean, he would know. Like, I could walk into that room and he knew. Let's say it was the first day of my period and maybe there was a meeting going on. So obviously in front of 15 people, he's not going to ask me. I would come in, I would sit down. Let's say he had to give me a piece of paper. Normally he would hand it to me. He would stick it on the table for me to pick it up. And I thought, my God, he knows. Like, how does he know? And I would ask him, how do you know? And he would say, I don't know. But there is an energy, I feel it. His guru, there's a beautiful story of one day when his guru was coming to his parents' house for lunch. They're coming up to the house. Puja Swamiji's father, Puja Swamiji's there. They're walking with the Guru. They get to the doorway of the house. And the Guru stops and he says to Swamiji's father, he says, "Are you sure I'm supposed to have my lunch here today?" And Puja Swamiji's father was like, yes, absolutely, please, Guruji. And the Guru says, just go in and confirm with your wife that really my lunch is supposed to be here today. And Swamiji's father goes in and he asks Puja Swamiji's mother. And lo and behold, it turns out that actually she's menstruating. Now, he hasn't even entered the house, but he could feel it. There is a difference in the energy. Now, there are cultures in the world, indigenous cultures, in which women on their moon cycle also go off alone, because it's considered a time of great power. It's not a time of illness or uncleanness. It's a time of great power, energetic power. But even in those indigenous communities, she is separate. I remember I had a friend growing up who was herself, Caucasian American, but her family had joined this commune, her parents had joined this commune of Native Americans. It was, the early 70s, and they were living in this commune of Native Americans. And my friend was growing up in it. And we were maybe 9 or 10. And I remember her telling me that she couldn't wait until she started to get her moon cycle, because then she was going to be able to go off. And they had a name for it, I forget what it was, but a name for the little hut that the girls and the women would go when they were menstruating. And it was seen as this great, beautiful thing. So there is a difference in energy. It's not unclean, it's not wrong, it's not bad. But nonetheless, by ancient cultures across the globe, it is seen as different. And it is seen as a time in which women are encouraged to go within. To not just pretend that the energy isn't different, but to tap into that energy. It really is. It is a moon cycle, because we are in alignment with the movement of the moon and the earth with relation to the moon. That's really powerful. And this is where, our work around ending the taboo of menstruation is. It's not about, let's pretend menstruation doesn't exist. This is not an illness. People talk, sadly, you'll hear women and girls talk about my monthly problem. And one of the things that we've been so committed to in the behavior change campaigns and messaging is that it's not a monthly problem. It's a monthly blessing. It's a monthly opportunity to remember. I menstruate because I have the power of the Creator in me. Pre-puberty and post-menopause, we cannot create. Where there is menstruation, there can be creation. And so it's this beautiful opportunity every month to recognize and celebrate. I am this creative force. And that's something that we're really working to help change, not a monthly problem, a monthly blessing. I remember when I first came to India, I would hear people would say, "I'm down," which I didn't know was slang in India for "I'm on my period." And as a psychology student, I thought I'm down means I'm feeling sad, yeah. And I would always say, oh, let's go for Aarti, let's go to Ganga, come. And they'd be like, no, I can't, I'm down. And I would think, that doesn't make any sense, it'll make you feel so much better. And it wasn't until some time later I finally learned what it really meant. So in terms of holy places, on a purely logistic note, here's how I've navigated 25 years. And that doesn't mean it's the right or the only way, but it comes from asking a lot of questions. It was important to me to honor and to respect this cultural tradition, even though I didn't understand it, even though it made no sense to me. Nonetheless, it felt very critical to me to honor it. And so I always made sure I didn't go to temple. I didn't touch holy things. I didn't give Pujya Swamiji a glass of water. I didn't do the things. I didn't go into our kitchen. I didn't do things that I was told I wasn't supposed to do. But in terms of Ganga, what I was told really clearly was, go to Ganga, no problem. Be there for the Aarti, no problem. Just don't touch it. But be there, pray, no problem. Be there, enjoy. It's Ganga, she's the mother. So on the one hand, we consider her banks a temple. But in this particular regard, no problem. Be there, come for the Aarti. But it's just not the time to actually touch the Aarti. I was also told that when you do japa, not to use your japmala. And that bothered me. Because I felt like, but it's God, right? It's me and God. But again, I wanted to really honor it. And of course, because I didn't know, I thought, there really may be something here and I'm just not aware of it. I got myself a second mala. It's like, all right, so this is my non-menstruating mala. And this is my menstruating mala. So I did japa. I just did japa with a different mala. So you'll figure out ways to navigate it that feel right to you. But I think to honor it and acknowledge it is something that all of our ancient traditions have done. And so it's beautiful and important. And out of respect for the culture that has embraced us, we honor it, whether we understand it or not. And on the personal level, just whatever feels right to you. Do puja in your room, don't do puja in your room. Use your japmala, don't use your japmala. Entirely up to you. Absolutely. Beautiful. Have a wonderful, beautiful rest of your evening. A beautiful, beautiful day to our family joining us online. Happy, happy, happy Mother's Day. Happy Ganga Saptami. And so much love to all of you.